Hello, friends. I think we have to just move the.
It's because you moved, I think, there.
Okay. Hey guys. Hello, friends. Hi. So I'm bringing in Facebook Live people. So if you want to tune in, then you can. If not, it's all good. It's do what you gotta do. So I'm gonna be talking about pain-free posture for people who sit, and I'm gonna be sitting throughout this too because it all just makes sense to me. Oh yeah.
You can vote on that.
So thanks everyone for coming. Now you have some paper there. Let's. Thank you. Okay, cool. So thanks everyone for coming. This is really good. Obviously, computers are the way of the future now, and we're always sitting and kind of hunched over and maybe not being aware of the posture that we're doing. So here we are, we're gonna learn how to do some stretches. So my story is, I had chronic low back pain for about 20 years of my life. Since I was about 11 years old, I had an injury. Unfortunately, we were driving in a boat, and then someone was not being the nicest person and headed right into all these waves and smashed down. And unfortunately, my low back was kind of a bit tedious at the time and kind of just crunched my spine. So that kind of started all of the issues around age 11, unfortunately. So it was not a pleasant time in my life, but realizing now, when I was about 29, 30 years old, I could actually fix that with stretches, which was kind of the best thing that I guess I could have figured out for myself, and here we are. So now I want to teach all of you, that you don't have to be in pain and have chronic pain or even acute pain if you know what to do and how to deal with it. So yeah, and we're just kind of, Melissa and I were talking about knee stuff too, and I've had a few knee injuries, a few shoulder injuries too, so kind of like the poster child for injuries and things happening to me, and really trying to figure out how to solve that problem. I'd gone to different trainers and different doctors, and they didn't really know what to do, and so here I am, just doing it myself. So yeah. So I'm kind of curious. I'm going to write down why everyone's here, just to see if there's something that I don't know about or could learn from, and then maybe we can just talk about if there's anything that we can do aside from stretches. So Melissa, are you interested?
What am I here
first?
for?
Yeah.
Well, I don't sit a whole lot with my job, but I have twins, so I'm constantly hovering over them, picking them up, so basically my eyelashes hurt even.
How old are your twins?
They're almost 17 months. Yeah,
Yep.
So they're busy, but they're so much fun. But I'm noticing I've had knee surgery in the past, like I said, so I'm kind of favoring that bad knee because it's starting to hurt again, and then my hip hurts because I'm favoring my knee, and then my back hurts because I'm lifting them all the time, and then the patients are heavy on our floor, so I think it's just a hodgepodge of pain.
It's all coming together, unfortunately. Okay. All right. So as I was saying before, it could just be your hip is high, which creates tension in the lateral side of the quad, and that creates tension into the knee. And when that's kind of gassed out, then the other hip starts to come in and create problems too. So that's probably sort of what we're dealing with. So we'll go over some hip stuff. Yeah. Caroline?
I've had chronic back pain most of my life. I worked in healthcare for 15 years as a PSW, which was not good on my back. And now that I'm self-employed, I'm finding I'm sitting a lot, and I noticed my posture, but kept it like this because I'm hunched and my feet are not good, and I'm just I have very poor posture when I'm sitting, and I'm really noticing how bum muscles and hamstrings and calves are all pulling down on my lower back. So I'm hoping to learn to sit better and to release those muscles a bit, and hopefully relieve the stretching of my back.
Yeah, for sure. What's good about this today too is that releasing the upper body also helps to release the lower body too. So we're going to go over some hip stretches, but this will also help to bring your shoulders back and down, which will then allow the low back to relax. So, but yes, it does, the tension down here does pull in the low back and then create more problems. So yeah. Jenna?
Yeah, so I took this workshop before and it had a big impact on my posture.
Nice.
And so I don't remember all the things I learned, so I'm kind of back again to learn the ones that I didn't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I noticed a big difference in how I stand, sit, and I'm at the computer the majority of the day, every day.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Your posture is looking better.
Oh, thank you.
So it's good. Tasha?
So I'm at the computer a lot, and then I kind of get in a zone, and I realize I haven't moved at all for like 3 hours, and then I move, and everything just like, my body screams at me. So, you know, those quick stretches from when I'm sitting long periods of time, or even, I know I shouldn't probably work while sitting on my couch with my laptop, but, you know, if I am going to do that, how should I sit and do that? Or just maybe not do it at all.
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. It's mostly about knowing where your shoulders are. So you want everything to be allowing your spine to have really good posture and keep it aligned as much as possible. So anything like this throws your whole head off and throws your spine out of alignment too. Exactly. So thinking about tucking your chin wherever you are, whatever you're doing, will help to put your head back into that neutral position for your spine. So that's something you can think about, and then where your shoulders are too. So if you're here, then your head will naturally just want to go that way. But if you bring your shoulders back, it'll actually lighten the load, and your head will sit where it's supposed to sit, and now your brain thinks that your head is lighter. Because if you're here, it actually thinks that it's this heavy thing that it doesn't really know what to do with. So it'll help you to, like the shoulders back and down, will help you to just naturally bring your head down. So even if you're sitting like this, at least your posture and your spine is in a good position. But if you were to lean forward and you're like this, you can see how everything's kind of off kilter. So it's just, I would say that would be the main thing to look at. If you cross your legs, that's not a big deal really, just as long as this is all kind of down and relaxed. David?
So a couple of things when I'm at home on a computer. Sometimes I don't know what height to have the chair in relation to the monitor, because we have the adjustable office chair, but my wife doesn't like it when I put it up.
Right.
So,
okay.
And then besides that, on the computer, I doing snow removal now. So the sidewalks are super icy and we're pushing the snow and things like that. So I fell like twice actually, and I think I might have stretched some ligament or tendon or something.
Yep.
And didn't learn my lesson. I usually wear the spikes on my boots.
Yep.
But the name of your whole business, Beyond Balance, I'd like to find a way to balance on the ice.
That's good. Actually, something to help with that is being aware of where your body is in space. So if you are walking on the ice, think about where your feet are. So put the energy and the attention into your feet, and not just how much stuff you're carrying or where you're supposed to go, or looking off at the birds or whatever. But really just thinking, okay, I need to step, but do it with a purpose and have intention with your foot and where you're gonna plant your next step, essentially. So that'll help you with balance. I do have some wrist stretches too, so we'll go over that. And as for the height, keeping the shoulders back and down, you want your head just in a natural neutral position. If you're down here, like you're low, you're naturally going to want to do this, and then the shoulders will just come up with that. So if you can keep it in that neutral position, then you won't have an issue. Unfortunately, laptops are low, so we're constantly looking down. There isn't much of a solution with that unless you elevate your laptop, but then you're going to have trouble with your arms and your wrists because now they're coming up. So the laptop is one of those things where you take it for what it is, and you do your stretches, and then you go back into it, and then you readjust and all that. So cool, thanks. I gave you a little piece of paper, so if you want to take any notes, I just put on a few muscles of what we're going to go over today. So you can take notes, you can draw pictures, you can color something in, whatever you need to do with that will be helpful, and that's for you to take home. So the first one, so I'm going to do it, I wanted to make it so that it was kind of easy to remember in a way. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to go over, the neck has 1 stretch that I really want you to focus on. The shoulders have 2 stretches that I want you to focus on. The wrist has 3, and then the hips is 1, but it's called the figure 4. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're kind of going down the sequence. So neck's 1, shoulders 2, wrists are 3, and then hips are 4. So it's kind of I might say it a few times with repetition, and it probably get a little annoying, but it will help to stick into your mind. And we have the video too that I can send to all you guys too. So number 1, the neck. This one is my favorite, and it's really just to get your neck loosened up and more flexible because we're tight and all these muscles get really tight when our shoulders are up. So let's start with our left. So we're going to take our left hand and you're going to sit on it under your leg. And with the other hand, you're going to take the side of your head and you're just going to gently pull to the side. And with that hand anchored, you'll probably feel a nice stretch right along that medial side of the neck. And so you actually want to hold that for 15 to 30 seconds. The key to that is the brain actually recognizes that the muscle is longer. If you only stretch for 3 seconds, there's no point. So I would say don't even bother. It's all or nothing here. So how's everyone feeling? Mm-hmm. Good. So I haven't been counting, but if you're up to 15, I want you to actually bring your head forward and to the side as well. So that'll help you relax the back portion of your neck. So again, just be gentle, but pull just enough that you feel that stretch. Is anyone feeling tingly? Or are you okay? Any tingles? I actually feel it down into my arm.
Yes, so do I.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So that just means the fascia is a little bit tight all along the arm. And fascia is, I call it the onesie. It's like a mesh onesie. So it goes from the top of your head down to your feet and to all of your extremities and limbs. And it's this wrapping that keeps all of your muscles where they're supposed to be. And it's also inside your internal organs too, so that everything's nice and tight. But what can happen is you get fascial adhesions or restrictions, and then that will cause that tightness. Either it's in the neck, the legs, the hips, the quads, whatever it is. So yeah, so you don't have to do the next one, but bringing your head backward will help to stretch the front of the neck. The front of the neck is the neck flexors, and when we're looking down, those are the muscles that get really tight. It's called the sternocleidomastoid. I'll give it a whirl on the other side. Got balance. You gotta stay balanced. Beyond balance. So yeah, so take the right hand and then just sit on that. and then gently pull your head to the side. You might notice a difference. This side might be tighter, it might be looser. It might feel the same. You might just start to feel it down into your hand and your forearm. And really tuning into that feeling will help to bring that mind-body connection as well. And so if you've done it for 15 seconds, then I would say you can bring your head down to the front and to the side. Is everyone doing okay? It's kind of nice. It just kind of calms you down a little bit too.
Quiet.
It is good.
It's so
You hear the
lovely.
clock. I'm sure with 2 kids. How's everyone feeling on that one? Any numbness anywhere? Any tingly?
I have it in this arm this time. I
Yeah?
don't have it in my other one.
No. So you might just have a higher shoulder on the right side, more elevated and maybe more internally rotated. So the next stretch that we do will help to open up the chest a little bit too. So if you want to, you can write down the neck flexors. That's what the area that stretch kind of tackles, I guess. It's up to you. Like, don't feel you have to write anything, but. And then you can put 1, and then 3 parts to that if you want. So the next stretch. So next stretch, so this is number 2. So the shoulders, there's 2 really good stretches. There's more, but these are the 2 that I find are the best. So the first one, I'll stand up for this one, but you just clasp your hands behind your back, and you don't want to go out too far. You just kind of want to stay in close and help to bring your shoulders back and down, and then just lift your arms a little bit. So, yeah, so this, yeah. So clasp the hands, bring the shoulders back and down, and then just extend a little bit. So you should feel that in that big pec muscle, the pec major, and also you could even probably feel it in the front of the chest and into the neck.
I really feel it in my shoulders.
The front?
Yeah.
Nice. So that'll be, so these are the anterior deltoids, so that'll help to relax those too. Because when we're like this, we're internally rotated, and doing this is externally rotating and really just bringing your shoulders back and down. So this one's a huge one. So if you're big into the computers and doing anything forward, like I do massage, so I'm like this a lot, I need to really just remember, bring the shoulders back and down, and then extend the arms.
I feel it from shoveling snow.
Yeah, so that'll bring you into that internal posture as well too. How's that one? Good? Do you want to keep standing? Do you want to sit?
Sure.
Okay. So the next one, so number 2 of 2 is the triceps. So you're going to keep your shoulder back and down as much as possible, and then you're going to obviously bend your arm, and then push your elbow back a little bit. So you should feel that right here. You could also even feel that here. So holding this for 15 to 30 seconds as well. If you want to take it a bit further, you can rotate your shoulder even further back, and then that will get into the subscap, which is a huge, it's a small muscle, but it's huge for internal rotation. You actually have to get under your scapula, like under there, just to get it. I also have towels, if anyone wants to try. So you can do this, and then that'll help to bring your shoulder back further. Want to try? Sure. Okay. Yeah.
This way? Okay.
Yep. And so you're gonna stretch. So relax just a little bit. Yeah. So you should feel that shear.
Yep.
It is actually a really good little stretch with the towel. You want to switch to the other side. How's everyone feeling? Good. This one can actually cause lightness in your head, if you've ever noticed.
It does, yeah.
Does it? So just be aware of that. So sit down if you need to. And just, if it's starting to tingle or you feel lightheaded, just relax a little bit. So what happens when the shoulder is up, it's kind of cutting off this area, which goes to all of the nerves and everything all up the head and down into the arm. So that can happen for sure. It's a good one. Okay, so let's go back over it. So number 1 is the neck. Number 2 is the 2 shoulder stretches. So again, you've got the shoulders back and down, stretching the front of your chest, and then stretching the tricep and into the subscap. Okay, cool. So next one is the wrists. So there's 3. So the first one is just easy. It's just getting some mobility into your wrists again and help with some flexibility. Just be careful. You're falling on your wrist. So
it's
go very
snapping
slow.
each time I do it.
So that probably means that your tendons are tight. So if it doesn't feel right to do that, then maybe don't do this one.
Okay.
But I'll show you how the next 2 stretches will help with that. But yeah, I have a little bit of snapping here too. It's just tight tendons snapping over the bones. If it's really sore, then that means there's a nerve involved, so don't do that.
I one time fell in high school and ended up having a ganglion.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
ganglion cyst. Yeah. That you can actually smash with a book and it'll go away.
Really?
Yeah, I did that and it went away. But it's actually because of a shoulder issue. So if you're pushing down a lot and your shoulders forward, you're putting a lot of tension right here. So the energy has nowhere to go but here. If your shoulder was back and down, then it would actually be able to transfer back and forth. And so the more neutral your wrists are, the better. So even when you're doing computer stuff, if you're like this, you have more potential for injury than this.
So how long, like, if this isn't a holding stretch, it's a dynamic stretch.
Yeah.
So how long do we do this dynamic stretch for?
I'd say at least until it feels right, but like 15 seconds probably.
Okay.
Yeah, just kind of gets you moving. So the next part of that is stretching the forearm extensors. So you want to keep your shoulder back and down with this one. You want your elbow to be straight, and so you're going to bend your wrist, but bend all of your fingers up like that too. So that's going to get every single tendon, because you even have some tendons that go right down to this knuckle, basically to the tip of your fingers. So if you're only stretching like this, you're not getting those specific muscles. So if you wrap your fingers like that, then you'll probably feel an even deeper stretch. Sorry, I'm not laughing. I just I get giggly when things happen. I feel bad for my massage clients. I'm like, it's not funny. I know, sorry. I just laugh. I'm just nervous. I feel bad.
You seem like someone you thrive on, like learning about anatomy.
Yeah, I do very much. So all this stuff is pretty exciting.
Bodies are neat.
Yeah, good. I do like them. So how's everyone feeling? It's probably been 15 seconds. So let's do the other side. How's yours feel?
Fine. This one's
Yeah.
fine. This one I feel a
Oh.
whole lot of like everything here.
On the
and
bottom.
here.
Oh, so you might have tension in the flexion or the flexors.
I feel it in my finger. Like I feel it all. I can't even pinpoint. But here I don't feel anything.
Try and actually pull your hand a little bit. Does that change?
This I feel a little bit here.
Okay.
But here I feel like
all down here.
Like even in through here, here.
So this stretch might not be the best for you on that hand.
Oh.
Because this is putting that flexor into a shortened, contracted position. So then the next stretch that we're going to do now is stretching open like that. So you'll probably have better success with this one. Yeah, this one's kind of tight. So trying to keep the shoulder back and down as much as possible, the elbow straight, and then really getting to the ends of the fingers on this one too, because it's the same thing. This extensor, one of the muscles goes right down to the tips of the fingers. Good, deep breathing. That's awesome. So if it starts to get a little like, deep breathing will help. It'll stimulate the rest and digest, and then allow that muscle to relax even more. Yeah, it's a bit fiery, isn't it? I feel the same.
I walked almost all the way here again.
Oh, jeez.
From downtown to Western Fair.
Oh, man.
But then I got the Commissioners and Viscount, where I keep my e-bike stored, and I thought, I'm getting a little tired. I think I'll ride the roads are all dry.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, so this one will probably be good for you, like gripping the handles.
Yeah.
So, how you doing, Caroline?
The last one I did, this kind of spasmed up.
Oh, okay.
So this is relaxing it a bit.
Okay, good. So maybe start with this one, because it sounds like maybe we're more of a flexion kind of a society, I guess. So doing this one first, and then this one will be good. Yeah. Okay, so that was 3. It helps.
No, I didn't. Now I don't feel that pain.
Oh, good. Yeah, so it's probably just tight.
There you go.
See you later. Okay, guys, let's go over it again. So 1 is neck. 2, shoulders. 3, wrists. And then do this one first. And then this one. That's good. So the last one is number 4, and I call it the figure 4 because that's just what it's called. It's kind of like you're making a 4 with your legs. So this one's going to help relax your glute muscles and a little bit into your hip flexors and the quad muscles. So what you can do with this one is you can push down a little bit. Just be careful. You don't want to push too hard. So that something kind of snaps on you. You don't want that. So going down, you should feel it kind of the side of the glutes here, and then up, kind of more down the hamstring. You doing? You looked a bit apprehensive. Yeah, mind-body connection. So this makes me think of yoga, like easy breezy. Oh, depends on what kind of yoga you do, but it helps to bring your awareness to your body. A lot of us just kind of walk around, and like this is what I was talking about too. A lot of people just kind of walk, and you know, their arms and everything just floating around. But this helps you to become aware of where your body is in space, where it is on the floor, where your arms are, where your head is, instead of just kind of being, you know, just like flopping around and walking. It brings more confidence, more intention, more you know, life to your life. So really tuning into what muscles are starting to be stretched, what feels tight, why is it tight, do I feel tight up here, why is that, is it because I sit like this, is it because I cross my legs, you know, thinking about doing these stretches more often is really good. So how's this one feel? Feel okay?
Oh, the glutes means are tight.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big one.
Mhm.
So glute med keeps your hips level. So this is what we were talking about. If one of your glute meds is weak, then it's actually going to throw your pelvis off like that, and then so this would be the weak one, and this would be the tight one. So this is contracting a lot and creating tension, whereas this one just kind of floating around doing its own thing. But once you get that back into balance, then your hips are level and now your spine is level. So it's kind of like it works both ways. If you stretch here, then you're going to have more flexibility in your pelvis and your low back. But also if you stretch here, then it's going to go up the circuit too. So everything just wants to be in perfect alignment. So this one too, like the further down you go, will help to release the hip flexors. So you can even come off your chair a little bit too. Just be careful.
That equals
I can feel that in the piriformis.
Nice. Yep. So anytime you're crossing, that'll affect that for sure.
And then I've got the calf as well on the
Oh,
outside.
yes. So that one, just the more you can relax like this, I think you said you do that.
Yeah.
So the more you can, it's called dorsiflexion, so the more you can bring your foot up to the ceiling, that will relax the calves, and that'll help to relax your hamstrings too. So the more you can even just sit here. I did a lot of downward dogs, and that helped to relax my calves. So if you can do that, then that'll help. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm clicking.
Just clicking. Oh, new clicks or
No, old. Like,
Okay.
just
just clicks?
clicking.
That's okay.
Doesn't hurt. I'm just clicking.
Okay. Probably just take tendons. So, okay, so we'll talk about rolling too. Does everyone know rolling? No. Rolling? Yeah?
a little.
A little bit. So if you want a little bit more than just stretching, foam rollers are, the best thing that you can do. There's 3 parts of this one. This is for generalized areas, so you don't do it this way. I'm just showing you what it can do. But you actually put it on the ground and then you roll on top of it. So if you guys want me to, I can do that. But I'll explain it a little bit before. So that one's for relaxing the quads and the hamstrings, the glutes, even into the back as well. This one is more for if there are some knots in areas that need a little bit more focus, a little bit more attention. It hurts a little bit more, but pain and gain. Just kidding. But they call it foam roller, Caroline, because it's made of foam, and it depends on the density of the foam. Some are tighter than others. This is, I call it the rolling pin. I don't know what else you would call it. But it's really good for if you don't want to get onto the ground, then you can just use it like this. And essentially like roll out your leg. You do it down here. Hamstring. Calves. This would be good for your calves too. Because that way it really gets into the fascia and all of the muscles. This one too, you can do your forearms with it, which is pretty cool. And then the flexors. Triceps a little bit. So yeah, so that's in addition to the stretches, depends on what you're kind of interested in doing. I also have, Jenna has one of these too, Posture Medic. So if you're really feeling like you're super tight and super forward, you just put this on, and then it helps to keep your shoulders back without really having to do anything. But what's good about it is when your shoulders are back, it's telling your brain where your shoulders should actually be in space instead of just here. Like your brain just thinks that your shoulders are supposed to be here, so your brain keeps them here. The brain's pretty awesome. But once you do this and you stay like this for a little while, these guys open up, the back starts to strengthen too, and then the brain's like, oh, that's kind of interesting. This is where they're supposed to be. I function a lot better this way, and nerve conduction is better. So,
Can I try that on?
yeah.
Is it one size fits all?
No, I have a medium and there's a large too.
I won't try that. I don't want to break it.
Oh no, you won't break it. It's like super stretchy.
Okay.
You can try now or later. It's totally up to you.
It reminds me of when they wear belts for lifting weights,
Oh,
like so that you're
stabilized?
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, that's good. Because essentially that is what it does. It keeps your pelvis kind of where it's supposed to be.
Even when I do snow removal, I put my belt tighter.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, and it's even just a cue,
Mhm.
like to push against it a little bit. What do you think?
I like that.
It's kind of cool, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can wear it for a bit if you want.
I have no shoulders, so maybe a medium will work on me.
Yeah, that's a small.
Oh, it is?
So if it feels really tight, then
It doesn't feel too
medium.
bad.
That's probably yeah. Cool. Yeah. So actually, they're normally 45, but they're on for 40 today. I think I only have a medium left, but I can order some in. And then the rollers are normally 60, but they're 45 today too. Like if that's something that you want to talk about. But that's it. I have some balls here too. I do a lot of rolling on the chest. If that's something you want me to teach you after, it's pretty easy. Tennis balls are super cheap. And then that helps to open up your chest too. So, any questions? No? You guys have been pretty good. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
And then I have another workshop next week. It's on digestive health. So we were talking about that too. So it's Thursday, 28th from 2 till 3 here. And it's a free workshop too. So.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks everyone. Yeah.
I was curious
Thanks,
about
friend.
Oh, shit!
stretches for
Oh,